A thing, anything. I am the original DJ, Jazzy Jay from the mighty, mighty Zulu Nation. Bronx creation.
Woo!
Man, every time I come to Canada, y'all treat me good. But getting through that border, oh, my God.
Crazy. Did you have problems there?
That's understatement. Last time I came here, they didn't even let me in. They said, nah, you go back to US. We don't want you here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want me here today? Yeah. Can we get into some topics?
Yes, we can.
Can we get into the roots?
Yes, we can.
We take it from the rooter to the tutor?
Uh-huh.
All right, like my man James Brown said. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get it.
Thank you so much, good sir, for blessing us. And I mean, just that introduction alone, just getting you guys hyped up, that's already just testament to where that energy is from and where that vibe is from. While we're trying to set up, maybe we can start the conversation, and hopefully it's gonna happen. Like you said, let's get back to the roots. I think conventional wisdom has it that a lot of the pioneers, the first, ooh, look at that. Cool. A lot of the pioneers were actually born in the South Bronx, but it's not necessarily so. A lot of people actually moved to New York from different places. Was that the same for you?
Well, actually, I was born in a little shack down in South Carolina, and I moved to the South Bronx later on. Actually, we're from the East Bronx, you know what I'm saying? The East Bronx and the West Bronx is where Kool Herc is from. Everybody know about Kool Herc in here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kool Herc. If it wasn't for Kool Herc, there would be no hip and hop. You know what I'm saying? So we, myself, my partner, Afrika Bambaataa, we came out of a small project community called Bronx River. And, you know, we used to call it Bronx River, the home of God, the land of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And Bronx River was like one of those places where, you know, it was just, at that time, you know, we weren't rich. We were kind of poor. We weren't poor, actually. We were poor. We couldn't afford the other OR. So, yeah, Bronx River came out of necessity, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's where we developed that love for the music. I mean, Bambaataa used to just spin music out of his bedroom window, like the whole damn day, just about. That's all he did. Pretty sure that was his job, because that's all he did. No matter what time of the day, you go by there, 8 o'clock in the morning, he might just be getting up, brushing his teeth. He had some music jumping off, and it'd be outside the window, so people would always gather around, you know. So that's exactly where you know, myself and you know, the whole of the Zulu Nation. This is even before the Zulu Nation was founded, but we can get into that a little bit later on too. Yeah. Was founded in Bronx River, whereas my other counterpart, everybody know the Grandmaster Flash?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Flash was like he was more like Lower Bronx, Boston Road area, you know what I'm saying? This is all still South Bronx, East Bronx, West Bronx, and you know, Flash was responsible for a lot of the trickery that you see on turntablism, and you know, a lot of the stuff that's going on today. We all like owe a big debt of gratitude to the Grandmaster, because he was the original turntable god.
Yeah. And so talking about DJs, I did an interview with legendary graph writer Phase 2, and he said he knew Bam before he was a DJ, even when he was a graph writer, were, I guess, the pioneering DJs at the time. Were they involved in elements, different elements of what came to be known as hip-hop as well? Or was it focused on, okay, this is my craft right now, this is, turntable is my only thing?
Well, allow me to break it down. We all started out, first of all, as graffiti writers, because before we even interjected and thought about, like, oh, what are we going to do with this music? The music was always flowing through us, through our parents, and through different influences and, you know, groups that we kind of idolize. You know, music has a way of taking you back to a certain point in time in your life where, you know what I'm saying, you put on a record and you remember what you was doing at that point in time. You remember how old you was. You remember, oh, that's when I scraped my knee. That's when I fell off my bike, whatever the deal is. And I started out myself, Africa Islam, DXT. We all started out first. The very first form of expression in hip hop was the graffiti writing, because this stemmed from back in the days from the gangs, whether you was the Black Spades, Savage Skulls, Nomads, the Reapers, the Shingalings, Together Brothers, the Ghetto Brothers, whatever. Even the Warriors come out and play. Yay! But no matter what gang you was, what the deal was, when you went in somebody else's area, whether it was for a rumble or whether it was just to okay, I got a pass, or I had to fight my way through, or I just snuck my ass up in there and did it, you left your mark. So that's where the actual graffiti started, because wherever you was at, and then it branched off to people like the legendary Phase 2, Stay High 149, the 3 Yard Boys. I mean, it's so many of those pioneers that you can't just even imagine, and it just turned into an art form, and those who did it well. It was the expression. I was like flabbergasted when Giuliani's administration took over in New York, and they came in the Bronx River, and within several hours they erased history from the projects, because it was these were murals that were put up, and people used to come from all around the world to take pictures in front of the center, and pictures in front. These was things that people had so much respect for it. You would get the occasional somebody come and toy your name, and you put up a masterpiece, and somebody comes up because maybe they're not as talented or whatever the deal is, and come and scribble
spit.
Over yeah, spit. Yeah. We ain't gonna get into that, but these stood for years. Nobody defaced it. The whole full nine. People respected it, and that's what to me, what the definition of a true graph writer. He puts up something, people have so much respect for that, they don't want to take it down. But I guess the city of New York had a different view of it. It was vandalism. We were criminals because we were writing on it. Only thing we was doing, we were screaming out just to be heard, and that's what the whole voice behind graffiti writing is.
It's interesting you mentioned Giuliani and the administration, because hip hop, to a large degree, was spawned out of a lot of really bad policies made by the government that created really, really bad situations. Do you want to speak about that a little bit, just in terms of?
Well, at that time, especially, when you're young, like I am, a lot of people, it's an expression that you wanted, you're crying out to be heard. First of all, we weren't happy with the way music was being portrayed. It's a lot of disco going on, and disco ain't bad, because hip hop was like the bastard child of disco, funk, soul, rhythm and blues, gospel. So all of these genres helped to make the art form that we call hip hop today. So it was just a situation where we would play only that, that raw, raunchy part of the beat. Yeah, that get up out of your, dance out of your shoes, socks, all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? We would just play that part of the record. Whereas if you was go to a club like Live Freak or, Ipanemas or the Garage, everything, they would actually play the record from the beginning all the way to the end. So hip hop expression, when we came and started plugging into lamp poles, playing in the community centers, in the gymnasiums, the expression form was, listen, we want to be different. So, somebody like Kool Herc said, hey, well, listen, if we want to be different, we got to have different type of music. Crap. Talk to you later. We want to have a different type of music format. And the music format for us was something to make you go off. Before, it was called breakdancing, the second form of expression in hip-hop. Before, it was called breakdancing. It was like boing-yoinging, because they bounce all over the floor. So we didn't really have a name for it. We didn't call it b-boying. We didn't, we danced to the breaks. So it's like, okay, those are the b-boys. They dancing to the breaks or whatever the deal is. And basically, that was just our expression, just trying to define something that would be ours. And the point in time when we were doing it, we actually didn't have a name for it, didn't have a name to call it. You know what I'm saying? We had all kinds of little slangs for it. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we going over there to the jam. Because I don't know how many people ever been to a jam, but it's a moving experience. It's not the party. It's not the extravaganza. It's not the show or whatever. The jam is where you go and they going off over there. They born young. They just doing their thing. So you go to the jam and you go off, and that's what it was. When we plugged into a lamp pole, and the electricity was so massive, you can plug in a lamp pole in Queens, and everybody from all of the boroughs used to feel the electricity and flock to it because the word used to spread just like that. Yo, so-and-so's coming out in 18 Park. Everybody would just flock to it, you know what I'm saying? So that was the electricity. I mean, we were always getting combated by the powers to be, as we know, not to leave the subject. In the earlier days, it was cool because we had the community behind us. So, like, we used to set up 12 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever the deal is, play till 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and get confronted by no police. It was a lovely thing, you know what I'm saying? Wow. And yeah, because, what happened, we had the community behind us. So it's like, okay, these boys could be out robbing and stabbing each other up, you know what I'm saying? We was just off the heels of the gang era. Yeah. So, police would come on and mess with us, and they'd be like Miss Johnson up on the 5th floor sticking her head out the window. Leave them boys alone. You know what I'm saying? Why are you messing with them? They could be out there stealing your hubcaps. But, we had the community behind us, so it was a good thing. Whereas today, dude, in New York City, I mean, it's the turning of the guards. If I even think about hooking up my system, and I still one of those DJs who have a massive sound system, and for every DJ out there that has his own sound system, you know what I'm talking about. It's nothing like pulling up to a party, pulling your stuff out, right, and blasting the hell out of the next guy and doing your thing, and everybody's like, yo, listen, we coming to your when next time you playing, man? You know what I'm saying? System was good. You was just kicking it. That's what it's all about. If I do that now, forget it. I plug into a lamp pole now, dude, I will lose all my equipment, and I'd probably go to jail for disturbing the peace or whatever the deal is. And it can have the whole community behind me. You know what? Half of them will probably go to jail with me. So that's the difference. Yeah. What it was back in the days. It was something new, and it wasn't regulated, but, the powers to be came in and said, nah, this is not going to be stood for anymore. And I think, I think that was the beginning of watering down, and because that's what the stage where Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, Grand Wizard Theodore, the Furious Five, the Funky Four, Sugar Hill Gang, this is the format where they all came from. You know what I'm saying? And to take that away from it, it took a big part of hip hop away. You know what I'm saying? Made it too commercial.
You just spoke about, very proudly, about the sound system. What do the respectable sound system consist of back in the days?
Oh man, well, I could take you through a history of y'all get bored listening to technical stuff, right? Nah,
they good.
Man, listen, okay. Disco Twins. This is two twins, karate cats, but they was nice on the turntables, but they had a sound system. I mean, that would not be stopped. Of course, they were some rich suburban kids from Queens, so. Their parents bought them equipment, so they had money to do all of that. Whereas on the other hand, myself, my partner, Superman, Afrika Bambaataa, I was in charge of all of the equipment. And that was my role in the Zulu Nation. The equipment had to be up to par, so I was in charge of buying Phase Linear amplifiers, BGW amplifiers, Serwin Vegas speakers, Oaktrons, and we didn't have the money to just go out and per se go to a Sam Ash or whatever these stores are and pay the high prices. So you know what I would do? Hit the lumberyard, buy a couple of sheets of plywood, go to the stores with my tape measure all of the cabinets. Come back home, hit the table saw, you know, we'd be down in the basement for weeks, come out, next thing you know, we had a sound system, you know what I'm saying? It progressed from that, and that let me know the inner workings, how to build crossovers, how to, you know, how to judge and gauge what a speaker's optimum level should be, and what a, you know, and all of this contributed to, you know, later on me learning about stuff in the studio, because once you know signal flow, input, output, where the signal come from, where's it going, how's it being processed before it gets to the final thing where you hear it, you know what I'm saying? That's a big part of knowing your equipment and everything like that. But yeah, back in the days, man, you know, that was what was the defining part. If you was a DJ and you had a wimpy sound system, somebody could come right up and set up right next to you in the park, blow you out. You had to just, you know,
pack up and leave.
yeah, tuck your tail between your legs and go home, you know. It happened to us. A little funny story. Kool Herc and Bambaataa battled at the Webster PAL. This was back in like 79. Yeah, 1979. So Kool Herc had just finished doing something else. So me, Bam, we in there, and you know, Bambaata's the master records, and we gonna throw on all the records. We gonna kill Herc tonight. We had all of my man Monk, God bless his dad. Yo, Bam, we taking Herc out tonight. That's what it was all about. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't taking him out with no guns or anything like that. We came to the party to wreck your image. So we doing our thing. Herc comes in late. He sets up on the other side of the gymnasium. So we rocking. Next thing Herc goes, Bambaataa, Bambaataa, Bambaataa. I'm ready to go on, ready to go on, ready to go on.
Ooh, echo.
Monk said, yo, Bam, hell with Herc. We taking him out tonight. Bam's passing me records like he usually do. Yo, play that one right there. Play that right there. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm cutting the records up back and forth. Bambaataa, Bambaataa, Bambaataa. Turn your system off, off, off. Right now, right now, right now. Yo, Bam, the hell with Herc, man. We gonna do this, man. Bam listening to everybody around him. Last warning. Bambaataa, Bambaataa, Bambaataa. Turn your system off, your system off, your system off. Or we will crush you, we will crush you, we will crush you. Herc ain't saying nothing, Bam. Keep on playing. Yeah, Bam, come on, let's keep on playing. Herc threw on, I don't know how many people know this song called The Mexican by Babe Ruth. Starts off with some soft Spanish guitars.
Yeah.
Bling, 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 bling. By the time the bass came in, I was on the turntable. I was like, I think we need to turn off, man. I couldn't even hear myself thinking, more or less the music we were playing. He had drowned us out. I was like, okay. We learned a valuable lesson today. You do not go up against the big dog unless you got the big. Of course, later on when we started, you know, developing a more of a idea of what equipment is supposed to be, then, you know, we was able to go back and compete with Herc.
Yeah.
We was able to go back
Herc,
and compete.
shut
with
down.
Yeah, you know, but I never forgot that day, man. We got blasted at the Webster PAL. Herc just like, yo, he just like, yo, it couldn't have been no worse if we was a building and he just came with a ball and just said, he wrecked us that night, you know what I'm saying? Big kudos to Herc for that. I ain't gonna never forgive him.
Could you play a song of back in the days that would be regarded as a valuable song to have at a party or for a DJ to have to know, okay, this is like
Okay, let me you know, let me ask you a question. How many people know what was the actual first rap song that was on vinyl? Does anybody know that question?
I mean, there's either Kingdom the Third, they say, but that's more disco, right?
I ain't ask you, man. I was asking the audience, man.
Oops.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, you know, like that something like that would, you know, it's like usually a little trivia question. I might have thrown out something in the audience and you just ruined it for somebody.
I'm sure you have more.
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff, man. I mean, I could start going through some tracks and all of that over here. You know, actually, you know what? Let's see if anybody out there got any questions that they want to ask me before I start going into some music and taking y'all back in the day, because then we might turn this into a party, and who knows what can happen then. Anybody? Any questions?
I think we'll have it at the end.
Oh, we have it at the end. Oh, okay. All right. So you one of the songs that that kind of defined that era was like we called it the national anthem. We called it the national anthem, you know what I'm saying? And this was one of those songs that, you know, as soon as you heard it, you knew this was hip hop. This was like, yo, they getting ready to make a room because somebody's getting ready to get on the floor. You know, it wasn't a situation where now, you know, we got the linoleum and the protective arm badge. Yo, dude, I started out as a B-boy. I came home many a days, my hands scraped up, my elbows all chopped up, you know what I'm saying? After a party, you needed a couple of days to recuperate, you know what I'm saying?
So it was just on the bare floor at the time?
Yeah, bare floor. No, dude, outside with broken glass. Melly Mel said it in his song, broken glass everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And this was one of those jams. When you heard it, you knew. Ages. You know, it kind of take you to a place where, you know, the spirit and the spirit is willing, but the body just won't do it.
Feel you.
Just having a little fun. But yeah, that was one of the songs that a must have.
Yeah.
You know, songs like that, songs like John Davis and the Monster Orchestra, I Can't Stop. Songs like Scratching by the Magic Disco Machine. Songs like, you know, you know, that was another thing. A big part of your repertoire was being able to play a song before the other DJ. These were what's called the sacred crates. This is before breakbeats came on vinyl and everybody could go to the store and get 12 cuts of songs that it took us months and months to find. Digging, me, Islam, we'd leave out early in the morning, come back, I mean, Afro be covered with record dust, and you just be filthy, but you had some stuff that you can, you know, actually just use. Can I get some water? Is that good?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
How important was it, though, the early crate digging to find those rare gems in terms of your education and in terms of expanding your repertoire?
Man, the early crate digging series. Thank you very much. Got a lot of soul there. You know, you had to be you wanted to be the first to bring it out. So a lot of it was just like trial and error. I mean, we used to go to the record stores and dig in a little 99-cent bin, the 50-cent bin, and we would look for records based on our knowledge of different, you know, performers, players, drummers, bass guitar. If he was on another album that was kind of funky that we like, we look for that guy's name. We see his name on the back, we'd buy it for that. Or we just go to the store and look at if you see a cover with a couple of cats with bell bottoms and some afros and whatever the deal is.
Yeah.
See breaking stuff.
Yeah.
You see a cover with some bell bottoms, some afros, and look like you just buy that. And then by chance, you know what I'm saying, it might be something on there that you can take back and play for your audience. We go out and sometimes we buy like maybe 30 or 40 records. Maybe out of that 30 or 40, during the whole course of the day, maybe 5 of them we might be able to use. You know what I'm saying? But you know, more or less, that's how records got discovered back in those days, because we didn't play the popular cut that was on the radio. Bob James, the Yeah, Bob James too. You know, Take Me to the Mardi Gras. That cut, it probably would have never been famous without hip hop, because the song that was I forgot the song that was the real hit on that album, but it was like, you know, it's like a mellow jazz tune. I think it was a TV theme or something like that.
Was it Taxi?
Might have been. But yeah, it wasn't Mardi Gras. But when Flash said, dude, it was over. That was and you know, that's one of the most recognizable songs that you can. 30 years ago that they made that song, whatever the deal is, you could still play it today. And you still get a reaction. You know what I'm saying? I might throw that on tonight, so y'all might want to come down and check it out tonight, man. I'm gonna take you on a musical journey through time, back and forth, and take you into the catacombs. I'm gonna pull you out, make you laugh, make you cry, make you scream. We're gonna do a little bit of all tonight, but let's get back to this right now.
Yeah. Earlier on, you mentioned the importance of the Zulu Nation, and what was the idea? Because you were there even before it was started, when it was probably in its baby stages. What was the initial idea of setting up the Zulu Nation, and what were the philosophies that inspired it?
Well, the Zulu Nation came out of the need for us to stop just like killing off each other. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, where we were at, we were like the I think the second or third division of the Black Spades. That was our territory. Right across the bridge, you had the Skulls, you had the Nine Crew. You know, you had different territories, had different gangs, and what happened was, it was like we didn't realize at that point in time, because you know, like I said, we grew up in an area where, in an era where we weren't fortunate enough to have the best of life, the best of everything. You know what I'm saying? We weren't rich, we didn't have a lot of money, so the gangs was a way of everybody like kind of uniting. But then after, several years of everybody, saying battling against each other, and these battles turned bloody, and sometimes, they were fatal, came the concept, hey, listen, you know what? We killing each other, and the cops is killing us. Why don't we just stop this? Let's make a truce, because the thing that makes us all the same far outweighs our differences. You know what I'm saying? Our differences is up here in our mind. And that's what happened when that started happening. The gang started getting together. Started with a Latino gang called the Together Brothers, and they started calling out the members and the leaders from each of the gangs to sit down. Let's talk truths. Let's get together and let's start making a difference so our community can strive and uplift. Now, out of this, Bambaataa was one of the division leader of the Black Spades. So what happened was he saw his god brother just get gunned down, real vicious, and that kind of changed his whole perception about where he wanted to go with this gang thing. He's like, nah, we believe in this, for so long, and it's really, bull. So not Red Bull, but Bull. Yeah. So it was like, yo, let's do something. Let's do something different. Let's start to do something. So from the Black Spades, he started a thing called an organization, and the organization was like, let's organize, get together, group everybody up, and launch a battle so that we can uplift ourselves, get better jobs, get better living quarters, get better, coverage, health, all this for our community. Yeah. And then after the organization was formed, we take dues like from everybody, that's a Bambaataa took the money and made a pilgrimage to Africa. Oh. When he came back from Africa, he's like, we're no longer the organization. We're the Zulu Nation now.
Do you know where he went to in Africa?
I really don't know. I know a lot of people was pissed off at him. It's like, man, what happened to the treasury money? Oh, I'm trying to. I'll tell you a true story. Not too many people know the story. Bam probably be pissed. Where you telling people that?
Okay, so he did the Chappelle before Chappelle did the Chappelle. When he went to Africa for a timeout.
Yeah. So yeah, he went to Africa, but more or less that one trip actually did something that was remarkable because the Zulu Nation is the only organization that's been down with hip hop since its conception, since we were plugging into the lamppost, that's still around today. The only organization. So basically, every year Zulu anniversary has Zulu Nation have their anniversary in November. That is hands down the official anniversary of hip hop. So when you think about what hip hop is doing, what it's going to, if you look at the Zulu Nation, that's a credit. When I got inducted into the Zulu Nation Hall of Fame back in '99. That was better for me than receiving gold albums from the RIAA, receiving VH1's crap, receiving anything from BET, because basically the Zulu Nation, if they honor you, you deserve to be honored because, they've been down from day one.
Gotcha. Through the Zulu Nation, hip-hop was almost defined, right, and articulated because you had graph and a bunch of different things happening, sometimes at the same jam, sometimes in different parts of the city, but it kind of brought it together under one banner and defined almost the boundaries of hip-hop. In terms of the things that you were doing back then, in terms of the Cratedigging and everything being almost secretive in terms of whether it's moves, whether it's the records, how did the ultimate breaks and beats that was now available to basically anyone who had $12 in a turntable, whatever, actually change the nature of the jams?
That came about. A friend of ours used to come to the all of the jams, T Connection, Sparkle, the Ebolo, whatever, wherever place. It was we used to call him the oldest teenager, my man Lenny, and Lenny was responsible for all the ultimate breaks and beats, putting all of those songs on that was his label. Excuse me. And what he did was he used to come to all of the jams. You couldn't get nothing by him either. He was like one of those record diggers that would just like his collection was extensive, and I guess he's figured, you guys are the holder of the sacred crates and everything like that. But I think I can make some money if I started making it available to everybody else. And it kind of took the steam out of a lot of cats as far as digging, because then, cats would show up at the party and whereas I'd take me months to find 12 cuts of stuff to just fill a couple of hours at a party. Somebody had all of those 12 cuts on one piece of vinyl. I'm like, dude, man, you know what I'm saying? What we went through to find these. I remember I dug one day and I found a whole bin of a song called Catch a Groove by Juice. Now, this was a hard record to find, and I found a whole bin of them. And, just came back and just like distributing them, selling them, giving them away to a few cats. And to the point where I gave them away so much that I lost my only 2 copies and then didn't have none anymore. So I had to go back and find them. Then years later, because I'm a collector, I'm a connoisseur, I found it in England for $60. Yeah, hey, trust me, I wasn't laughing at that point. Cause I had like 30 copies. I bought for like 99 cents a piece. Gave a lot of them away, and then but that's what takes it. It's an art to it. You know what I'm saying? Being able to, I even right now I got a little close and play turntable that works on battery. I go everywhere I go. Sometimes I'll just take that with me. I know I'm gonna be on the road for a while. I go in the record stores and just sit there for hours and just listen to records. These are things that we hold sacred to us. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a jam. The jam again. We go to a jam and you're able to play something before any other DJ or whatever the deal is, and you get accredited for that. Yo, so and so brought that out. Bambaataa is just like famous for bringing so many songs out that's still privy today. And you know, I brought a few of mine, not as many as Bam, not as many as Herc or Flash or whatever the deal is, but you know, it's that was our whole credo. You had to be on top of your game. You had to play the right stuff. You had to have the right type of equipment. Plus, you had to be an innovator, not a follower. A lot of people like these days, I look at a lot of DJs and where they okay, I know how to scratch, and it's like, dude, that's not everything what DJing is all about. You have to, you know, saying listen to your crowd. Look at your crowd sometimes. I seen cats, man, and they're in the booth and they're into themselves. And the people outside looking at them like, yo, dude, when you gonna let the record play? When you gonna do, you know what I'm saying? It comes a time you have to take that in moderation, and a lot of cats, you know, they don't do that. And then the real thing that kills me, like a lot of these DJs that just act like it's just like they come off a assembly line. You know what I'm saying? I played at a party one day, and these are all the top radio DJs in New York, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm playing, you know, playing a party with all, and all these guys they're famous. Each one of them got on and practically played the same set. I was like, what the hell is, these guys are getting paid all this money. They're programming music to the nation. They're programming music, you know what I'm saying? And they don't have a voice. They don't have a say-so. Yeah. We used to break records. We used to have to play a record. People were like, what is that you're playing? It's something new. Check it out. Listen to it. Absorb it. Take in the aroma for a second. See what you think about it. Now, a couple of weeks later, you know, somebody's favorite record. Now it's like, if the radio isn't dictating or the videos isn't telling you that this is hot, you know, it's like the DJs don't have a mind of their own. And I think that, see, the first thing that involved in basically in the art form of DJing, from my perspective and what I learned from when I first touched the turntable, is you're playing for the audience. You're not playing for yourself. And, you know, for you to be able to school the audience. Because if you're going to play everything that, you know, that the radio's playing, well, why should I come and hear you play? I can sit home and listen to the radio. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of radio and bringing your expertise in terms of turntables and DJing, how did you get into radio back in the days? Because you were a pioneer, technically speaking.
I was actually the first DJ in the hip hop realm to actually play on New York City radio when I went on 98.7 Kiss, and actually, at that point in time, we didn't really know how to break in the radio. You know, most of the radio personalities that we know were just people that talked on the microphones, and it was a technician in the background that played all the music. Yeah. So as far as like what we programmed and what we played for our people, you know, at the parties, at the clubs, at the jams, or whatever the deal is, it was something totally different. We were the personality, we were the programmer, we were the technician, you know what I'm saying? So that, you know, it's like putting labels on that and then taking certain jobs and separating it. We did it all. So
it was a setup like this, basically?
Yeah, man. It was like, you know, when I went on radio, actually, I used to make all the stuff at my house. And then just, you know, that was back in the days of reel-to-reels. And a lot of y'all probably young. Y'all probably don't know what a reel-to-reel is. How many people ever saw a cassette? Now, I know y'all ain't that young, but yeah, man, it was wild because, you know, I go back to the days of 8-track. Remember 8-track tape, the big tapes? Dude, I used to make pause button 8-track tapes back in the days. Pause button. Dude, it was incredible. You had to be there. So, you know, and that was like, it was just trying to define that was like, okay, I go into my crib, I'm spinning, and you know, I'm talking on the microphone, just doing little announcements here and there, introducing the music, and I'm doing all of that. So I, you know, for somebody to sit in front of a mic and then somebody else to play the music on cue and all of that, it was something new to me. But when they say, listen, we want to program Kiss's music behind what you guys are doing over here at the Roxy's. Now, let me take you a little bit through that whole era. There was something called the Great Hip Hop Drought that a lot of people talk about. The hip hop drought, it happened like maybe early 80, 81. Didn't last real long, but as just sitting going through playing for crowds of 500, 1,000 people every jam pack. You know, I got a list of flyers. I'm a flyer collector too. I'm a connoisseur of flyers. Anybody got any flyers, old school flyers in the house? Oh man, it's a place called oldschoolflyers.com. You need to check that out just to check out a little bit of history about where this stuff came from. And you know, it was just a situation where we go to this party. I remember me and Bam playing at a place, and we played at like a gymnasium, which we used to always pack. I mean, it'd be so packed, people just couldn't get in. We played there. I think it was in Connecticut, and our crew was playing a full court basketball game. We was on the stage like this. Bam was just sitting down going. I think I was off somewhere, you know. And this is when, and everybody had at that point kind of outgrown hip hop. That's when they said, oh, you know, that was that hip hop stuff, that hippity hop, don't stop stuff y'all was doing. That was a fad. It's gonna go away. It's gonna die. The person that actually single-handedly, in my opinion, and I know because I lived this. I'm not reading it in a book. I'm not reading it secondhand from Nelson George or any of these other characters who say they're historians on form hip hop. I lived through all of this. The person who single-handedly kind of saved that whole era was Bambaataa. He started transforming us from the Bronx and Harlem and taking us downtown. A lot of people wasn't coming up to the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? You get your average person, you know, yuppie, young urban professional in the city. They're not going lower than 110th Street. They're not. It just is up. I mean, above 110th Street. They're not coming there. But if you take this music and you bring it downtown, hey, they might come out. So now our audience went from being like black and Hispanic, you know, a little bit of Asian, and sprinkles of white. We had a massive audience now. We had Oriental. We had, you know, people coming from all over the world to check us out because it's like, hey, listen, well, we ain't got to go worry about going up to the Bronx and getting jumped and stabbed or whatever the deal is. And that opened up a whole new era because at that time when the hip-hop drought happened, I mean, it hit everybody. People were, you know, most of the DJs were selling their equipment, looking for day jobs, you know, and MCs was like, yo, listen, you know, I work at the Save Mart now, whatever the deal is. So once we started coming downtown, Bam started bringing, you know, myself, Islam, DXT. Then later on, we started bringing like Flash, Herc, and everybody started migrating. And next thing you know, it was like a worldwide thing. Everybody was coming. Like I remember one night doing a show at the Roxy's, and before the show happened earlier that day, I had Japanese press come to my house. I mean, they was there at my house before I even woke up. Oh yeah, we film now. Like, we filmed out, dude. They was in the bathroom with me while I was brushing my teeth. They followed me the whole day. I went to we had a store in the Bronx called Jew, man, where you just go get your 69ers, get your Lees, get your fresh gear, you know what I'm saying, get ready for the party that night. They went in the store with me, and they went everywhere with me. But it was just something that, you know, that I was like, I thought would never happen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think when I started plugging into a lamp pole back in the early 70s that it would turn into this thing where people follow me around with cameras. Actually, somebody would have an interest in what I'm doing. And then coming up to, I would have never thought that we would be selling everything from paint to condos to everything. Hip-hop is just like, you know, selling a little bit of everything.
So you've paved the way in terms of being part of the pioneering generation of DJs. You were the first on radio. Then you dabble with production as well, music production and engineering. What was the first kind of songs you were involved in that?
Okay, music production. You know, that still goes back to our DJing days because basically that's with the art of cutting, scratching, blending. We used to actually remix songs right before your very eyes. So hearing that and that knowledge, that's the reason why they made samplers. Because a lot of producers at that time weren't DJs and they couldn't do what myself did or Flash whatever. They couldn't do what we did, so they had to make machines that would emulate what we did. And I mean, my first involvement with production was like more or less like a little rolling drum machine where you couldn't sample, you couldn't change the beats. Only thing you could do is switch from beat to beat. So you had the bossa nova.
Oh yeah.
So you switch back and forth. You had a little funk beat, a little hard rock beat, and you just can kind of adjust the tempo. And I did a song with my group, the Jazzy Five. We did a song called Jazzy Breakdown, and I just like recorded the whole thing. And if this was live to cassette, these days we got multi-track, quadra tracks, high def this, and we got everything decaffeinated. Who knows? We can do it all. We can do it all with a couple of buttons. But back then it was like, you had to be on point. We had to do it, and it had to be in that take. Because if somebody slipped up or somebody messed up or I pressed the wrong button on the drum machine,
Start over.
Start right back from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? James Brown could tell you. James Brown they used to do what's called live to 2-track. Now I was running around here yesterday, and I see they had an 808, a rolling space echo. I was like, wow, that was the echo that Herc said, Bambaataa, Bambaataa, turn your system off, or we will crush you. Now, this is like vintage equipment. I'm a collector of vintage equipment also, so I've got the whole repertoire: the DMX, the 808, the 909, 727, the Linn drum. The percussion. I mean, these are drum machines that hold a lot of value to me because, I used the 808 to make Planet Rock. I used the DMX to make I Need a Beat with Kool J. I used the SP12 to make songs for the Brand Nubians. You know what I'm saying? I used the MPC 60 to make songs for Busy Bee, Bambaataa, and so all of these drum machines. It's not like a piece of, just like something that you use and then you get rid of it. Yeah. It's like, this is the actual machine I tapped on to make that, make that recording, to make that composition. And plus I'm just like a equipment monger. Everybody can tell you in my house right now, I got equipment that, dude, my wife be like, what are you doing? I got like turntables stacked up. She's like, dude, you can only play on 2 turntables at a time. Why do you have 12 pairs of turntables? I'm just like that. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have Jazzy's Breakdown with you?
Nah, Jazzy Breakdown never came out.
Oh, it never came out?
Nah, it never came out. It was just my first stab at doing production. So we kind of did this song, but actually I do have a version of it, but I gotta dig it up. It's on cassette somewhere in my house.
Okay, fine. But do you have a copy of Jazzy Sensation?
Yes, I do.
'Cause that's
Jazzy Sensation.
we got to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear Jazzy Sensation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can find that right now.
And that was released on which label?
Tommy Boy Records.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The Jazzy 5. Yeah, that was released on Tommy Boy Records, which is another label we were responsible for starting. You know what I'm saying? Before Planet Rock, Tom Silverman was just like, just somebody from a cat from Boston just trying to get his feet wet in the music business after Planet Rock, But this was actually, I like this. When we came out the studio for making Jazzy Sensation, I was like, oh man, I love that. We came out the studio for making Planet Rock, I was like, we made another record.
You kidding me?
Dude, was I wrong about that? You know what I'm saying? That record took me around the world, so, kudos. I love Planet Rock. Jazzy's 5, Jazzy's, that, and it was, something new to us because basically that's where a lot of the records were, if you listen to Jimmy Spicer, Super Rhymes. How long is that record? Like 15 minutes long. So, you know, we were used to making records that, because it had to reflect how was you going to take what you did at the jam and put it on vinyl. So this was our new stab at doing it. At this point, it was like we were being directed. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have it would come years later when I started working with like with you know, with the cats from Def Jam, with Rick Rubin, with when I was doing the stuff at Beach Street, and you know, when I was doing stuff and when I started my own recording studio, where I would actually have a hand in doing all of the production myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I just got tired of just watching, you know, somebody dictate what my music should sound like when I know I had it up here. I just couldn't get it out. You know what I'm saying? And I owe a lot of that credit to you know, Arthur Baker. You know, Arthur, I heard he was here last week. You know what I'm saying? He's a schmuck, but I still owe him a lot of credit. You know, but you know, and one guy I owe a significant amount of credit to two engineers. My man Steve Ed, who
it was a Chunking.
Yeah, who worked with Chung King, and Jay Burnett. Man, wherever that guy's at, I hope he can watch this one day, man, because he taught. This guy was like, when we went into the studio, you know, as you know, young kids from the Bronx. Now, don't touch that. Don't touch nothing in here. Don't touch that. Don't touch, you know, so we had a lot of restrictions on us. We couldn't touch nothing, you know. So how are you going to learn how to program your own music or whatever? You know what I'm saying? I was a drummer at that time, you know what I'm saying? It's like I go in there and they hide the sticks on me. I'm like, God, yeah, at least I know how to do that. Can I at least play the drums? And no, you don't know. This is studio equipment. It's very technical. It's very, don't touch it. So Jay Burnett was like, you know, I used to love Jay Burnett because Jay Burnett used to sit there. This is back in, you know, we talking the 80s now. Everybody was getting high. So Jay Burnett would sit there.
High.
Oh, yeah. My man was, but he'd be like, go over there and patch in 23 to blah, blah, blah. So I started learning how to do the patches. Then he was like, yo, you know, let me show you EQ compensation. So he started talking to me. So it got to the point where even if it wasn't my session, I used to just go to Unique Studios or Quad or wherever he was engineering and just hang out with him. Got to the point where he invited me to help him work on a couple of songs. I'm like, wow. So I went from just sitting there, and you know, the guy, you know, he you know, it just takes somebody to just say, okay, you know, this guy's got an interest. Let me show him the ropes, show him a little something. And then from there, you know, I just branched off and started just doing my own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before we get into your own thing in terms of starting up your own studio, I'm personally really interested to know what was your role in the production of Planet Rock, because like you said, you know, you walked out of the studio going, but for a lot of us, it was like a life-changing moment. You know, it was like, this is the birth of some new shit.
That's why I was so weirded out about it, because it was like, it was so unlike anything else that was out at that time, and I didn't know how anybody would perceive it. You know what I'm saying? And then you know, it was actually, you know, like it was a routine. Like I said, that's where all of the songs came. It wasn't like, you know, like a lot of cats today. Okay, I'm gonna spit 8 bars and then chorus, and I'm gonna spit 8 bars and chorus, and I'm gonna spit again. So it was a routine that we used to do at the parties. You know what I'm saying? And this routine was a collaboration of, you know, the MCs and myself with 3 records: Super Sperm, Trans Europe Express, and Numbers by Kraftwerk. The 3 songs, we used to kind of blend them in to do the routine. So what happened is Arthur Baker, John Roby listened to this routine. It was like, well, we need to turn this into a song, but no way we're gonna be able to use the vinyl. Plus, it wasn't the style at that point in time. It was like, let's go in. So everybody was using bass, lead, drums, and whatever to do the full band thing. These guys were like, yo, listen, this is something new coming up. This is electronic age. We're going to do this all straight up with, you know, so the 808 was there, and, you know, so I was like, all right, well, this is how the beat should go for, you know, for Kraftwerk. And then, you know, at the end we go, that's Super Sperm, Super Sperm. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of just took it and mimicked what we used to use in our routines, and that's how it came about. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the formula of the way everything meshed together to make it, to make it the super song. I mean, we can't just take credit for that whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people were involved in the making of Planet Rock, and I think what it was is certain songs like that, it just comes together. Like I've worked on a lot of songs in a lot of different studios, a lot of different environments, where certain songs you work so hard to get it, and then some flop. Then certain songs where you just kind of chew and just sneeze it out, and it's just a mega hit. And Planet Rock came together like that. It was literally just kind of sneezed out, and it was put together. And I think the most tedious process of the whole thing was editing it. We had like 30 reels. I'm like, Arthur Baker's, it was crazy, man. Arthur Baker, he was with the whole editing process and splicing. Yeah, that's how I learned a lot of that, cutting with the razor blade. Saying what we do right now with a few strokes of the keyboard keys on the computer. But just like we had a whole bunch of tapes, man, and it was just like, that's whole Sonic. So it was days upon days of listening to reels upon reels, and then kind of putting it together. So even after the song was done, which was done relatively, it didn't take that long, just the process of putting it together, I was like, it was like, are you finished with it yet, Arthur? Are you going to finish with the damn song? You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy because we came out of the studio, and like I said, I was like, we made another song. Dude, I'm driving down. I'm going to Throgs Neck from Bronx River. I'm driving in my car. Next thing I hear this song on the radio. And I'm like, damn, this sound familiar. Oh, man, that's us. Almost crashed. I'm like, yo, that was before the days of cell phones. So I jet off the highway. Call, yo, Bam! Yo, they played them. I know, I'm listening right now. Yo, I'm calling everybody. And then people are, oh, man, it was just so incredible because it was like, yo, up to then, we weren't being played on the radio. Oh. And at that time, hip-hop or rap, whatever you want to call it, was being denied by radio. I remember because I was in VIP record pool, and we had some program directors from different radio stations. We had them on the hot seat. And never forget, the guy was like, nah, hip-hop will never play on my that stuff is a fad. It's here today, gone tomorrow, and blah, blah, blah. It'll never get played on my station. So I waited for him to make his long, drawn-out speech. And I got up and I said, you familiar with a record called Planet Rock? He's like, yeah. That's what I was like, yeah, you played that on your station, didn't you? He said, yeah. I said, what the hell you think that is then? I said, that's hip-hop personified, man. That's the Zulu Nation. He's like, don't swallow your tongue now. I said, dude, hip-hop will be played on New York City radio and all the radios around the world. It's just that you got to give it time. It's something new. Y'all don't want to embrace it, and you don't have the foresight to see it now, but it's going to happen regardless whether you make it happen or somebody else. It will happen. Everybody clap. Oh, yeah. Then next thing you know, we are being played all over the world on all radio stations every time. I heard some hip-hop songs on a country radio station. Wow, how big is that? You know what I'm saying? I ain't think country like hip-hop at all, but, it is what it is.
I know this has been a long while back, and sorry to hop on this. Can you remember the equipment you used on Planet Rock?
Yeah, we used a TR-808 drum machine, Roland 808. They had the TR, what is it? The bass line. That's the one that made the 303, the little bass.
The MC303?
Yeah.
TB.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the little bass modulator machines, and then that's made the So we used those two machines, and at that time it was this was before MIDI, before SMPTE, before World Clock and all of this stuff that syncs us up so lovely now and makes the production a work of ease. We used that, and it was a formula that used to lock the two rolling machines up. It was called Fisk. And Fisk was the pre-version was like the prequel to MIDI, and we, kind of locked the two machines up together, and then this was all kind of like still printing it right on tape, and everything had to go on live, so it wasn't no link ups and everything like that. I was talking to, like I said, I went through a couple of rooms up in here, and they had an 808, they had a 909, they had a Sonic, an ASR10, and these were all machines that I'm familiar with. But I mean, I learned, like I said, I learned from the cat Jay Burnett. I learned how to make my own reverb.
Oh?
Yeah, plate reverb. Back in the days, they used to, every studio had what's called a plate reverb. And it'd be in an isolation room. You'd have to have a sheet of metal, and you stretch it with these springs. And depending on how much the metal vibrates, is how much vibration you get on, for echo or reverb or whatever the deal is. And a lot of cats, they didn't know nothing about this because, it was a process. You had to go to the lumberyard, buy the sheet metal, stretch it, put the pickups on it, the same type of pickups that you'd use for a guitar or something like that. And that would be able to get hardwired into a thing that would receive the signal and turn it into reverberating tone. My first echo was an actual tape machine where you would go from the playback head and the record head, and and it used to be like what's called a tape loop, and that was your first. Of course, it was noisy as hell, but it was something in the process that made me understand why echoes worked. Before we had the space echo and all of this stuff. Man, it was a process, and for me to be going from I went from the straight up analog stage up until what I'm using right now. I'm using like a full blown Pro Tools HD setup. You know what I'm saying? And before I can think about it, it's done. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the basic, just like just being involved with all of that, kind of like prepares you and puts you in a league where you're in a league where a lot of people don't even have any idea or any inkling, you know what I'm saying? This is before modular units and all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? When everything was hardwired and, just the process of learning, all about the electronics,
Yeah. Something in your history that's also really profound because it's never really made it to, I guess, the mainstream is your involvement in setting up of Def Jam.
Yeah, Def Jam. The first office of Def Jam Records was 5 University Place, and the first distribution network was the trunk of my 1979 Chevy Caprice Classic.
Whoa.
And yeah, actually that was part distribution and part office. Me and Rick Rubin used to hang out in that mobile for days, running around. The first 3 records on Def Jam were all my songs. It's Yours, Def Jam 001. 002 was Cold Chillin' in the Spot where Russell, drunk ass Russell Simmons came up in the studio.
Just talking a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, talking about it. He was imitating Busy B. And the other side was the Def Jam, which was a song that came off the heels of Beach Street. It was a song that we were making original tracks for Beach Street, and it was one of the songs that didn't get used, but it was one of the songs I used to always play in my car. And when me and Rick was driving around, he's like, "Oh, I like that song so much." That's how Rick talks. It's so cool. I like that song so much. We have to do something with that. Okay, let's do it. So we took it. It was called it was called the Beach Street Groove or something like that. It was supposed to be, like in the background of Beach Street when the dancers are coming in, or maybe when they're outside or whatever the deal is. It just never made it like a lot of the other stuff made it, but that particular cut didn't make it. And we used that to make the Def Jam. And, it was just basically, I used to play at this club called the Roxy's. And every week is just bugged out looking guys to stand in front of the booth every week. He used to just stand there, shaking his head, didn't move except when he had to go to the bathroom or went to get a drink.
It's like man beat.
Yeah. So one day he gets up his nerve, he comes and introduces himself. I'm a big fan. My name is Rick. I like what you do a lot of. Well, I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. You know, I'm a cool enough guy. I kind of get along with everybody. So one thing like another, you know, seeing him a lot of times, we became, you know, on a first name basis. We started talking. Then he came and said, I'm doing this song, remixing a song for the Sex Pistols. You know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, it's a vintage song. He said, you know, would you want to come in and help me? I was like, pfft. You didn't have to give me a reason to go in the studio. I love to go in the studio, go to jams, go to party, whatever. I didn't need to be around music. I didn't need no excuse. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's go in. I don't think the song ever came out, or whatever happened with it. I don't even know. I know we went in and did it and never heard no feedback or anything behind that. So then after that, we did a series of parties at NYU. We did a little college tour circuit where we went around and you know, just played music for the people. And then he said one day, he said, listen, I'm thinking about starting a record label. How do you feel about that? I was like, once again, yo, why not? Shit, let's do it. Because I never I had been the artist. You know, I'd been dabbled around with managing a couple of groups that were looking at me since I had a little bit of success. I didn't really know too much about management, but I figured if I'm in their corner, they could do a lot worse with a lot of other people, you know what I'm saying? So now is my chance to dabble into the business end of it, you know what I'm saying? I'd already started my own recording studio because I got tired of engineers dictating, you know, what my sound should be like. Now it's time to start a record label. It's cool. Just did a movie. Now I'm getting ready to start a record label. This is a good thing. So it was you know, just a handshake and a high five between two friends, and that was all it is. We went in the studio, did It's Yours. It's Yours came out. The first generation of It's Yours, I don't think nobody even wanted to play that song. The only person that was playing it for a whole year was Red Alert. And myself, you know, it was just like a little underground thing, but doesn't make too noise. A year later, the song just blows up on the scene. Next thing you know, me and Tila Rocker, we were all over the country and, you know, running around doing shows. And all throughout this time, I was still playing Danceteria, Peppermint Lounge, the Roxy's, all these different clubs. And made the mistake one night of introducing him to Russell Simmons at Danceteria. And next day he called me up, yo, Russell, he's so cool. I like, hey, yeah, Russell's cool, dude, you know what I'm saying, no problem. So at this time, me and Tila Rock are doing shows. Now Russell's starting to book us at shows because, you know, the record is starting to pick up. And Rick is hanging out at Rush Productions' office every day. So, you know, him and Russell got real tight. So at that point in time, the music business was like, you know, as prejudice as a lot of people know it is, especially you know, they wasn't giving $1 million to me. They wasn't giving $1 million to Russell. But Rick, who had ties with, you know, with his family being, you know, kind of, you know, well off, and he had some connection, they give $1 million to him as long as he can keep the Jungle Bunnies in order. So basically, that's what it was. You know, Russell at that time had Curtis Blow, Houdini, Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? And only one that was really jumping off beyond that was like the Fat Boys, and you know, Russell kind of had his hands in a little bit of everything. Plus, you know, Russell's always been a hard worker, so you know he always got to get kudos for that. So you know, it was just one thing led to another. When the money came up and was approached, that's when Jazzy Jay got kicked to the curb. But you know, I never complain about that because it's like a situation where, you know, I'm into this music and always have been because of my love for the music. If you take away all the money tomorrow and say, yo, listen, you ain't gonna be able to make no more money at this, I'm still gonna be doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to have to go get another job so it'll support my music, but I'm going to still be doing this. Not a lot of people will. You know what I'm saying?
Could we play It's Yours? I mean, that's what, Def Jam 001?
001.
Yeah, and for some of you who aren't aware, but just listen to the lyrics. If you're familiar with the Illmatic album, the Nas album, the world is yours, that it's yours, jacked from there.
Yeah, it's just you know, for some reason it sounded kind of y'all get it. You'll know the song. You get a nice, kind of a picture of what we're talking. Well, and look, some little funny stories. When we were recording this, yours, right? It was crazy because it was never bassy enough for Rick. So we were at Power Play Studio out in Queens. You know, Power Play is a famous studio. A lot of people did a lot of stuff in there. Eric B, Rakim, a little bit of everybody, and was driving because we were on shoestring budget. So we were in the subpar room where every time you touch something, you'd hear. So you'd have to kind of like the mix had to be like done. If the bass went up too much, it would vibrate something, and the wire would short out, and you get this noise. So Rick was like, more bass. So the guy was like, look at the meters. And literally, you VU meters, they're supposed to do this. The meters was like this.
Staying in the red.
I mean, it wasn't coming down. It was like, from the beginning. Ow! And the guy was like, yo, dude, no, we can't put more bass. He's like, gotta have more bass. So what we would do is we'd make a mix on a cassette and we go downstairs in my car. Now my car was this was before everybody got all these Rockford Fosgates and 3 million watt amplifiers in their car now with TVs, and I came from the original school of that car audio stuff. I mean, when we had to cut out the back deck, put 4 10-inch woofers, 2 5.25s on the top, 3 amplifiers in the trunk, 3-way crossover receiver, you know what I'm saying? And the clarity was like, you come down the block 3 blocks away, there's like, yo, the block party's coming. Oh, no, that's just Jay. That's right. We used to come up, I'll pop the trunk open, man. It was a block party jumping off. So we take the cassette, go downstairs, and if it sounded right in my car, so we bring it downstairs, put it in the car, listen to it. Nope. Go back upstairs. More bass. Dude, no, we can't put no more bass. It's going to distort. I got to compress it. No, take that compressor off. So the guy had to sneak the compressor on. Cause I know at the end of the day, I was like, dude, all you can hear is the bass, Rick. We can't just put out a song with just boom, 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 boom. I'm like, dude, we have to hear some of the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, it became one of those songs that, we had a lot of fun making. And, the relationship didn't last with me and the Def Jam cats. But like I said, I have no animosity. You know what I'm saying? Everybody and everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So we do what we do. I was able to go and start Strong City Records and do that and, basically, try it again.
Yeah, and you were responsible for a lot of other people's careers as well in terms of where they recorded at and who you produced and who you hooked up from Tribe Called Quest, all those guys. Yeah,
well, see, I was one of those cats that, I give up a lot of information. To me, I was brought up in the church, and it's like when you're given a gift, you have to use it, and you have to display it, and you have to share it, or else it'll be taken away from you. So I share information when a lot of people try to hoard it. I share information with a lot of people. So I was known as the producer that produces. Showbiz and AG, Diamond D, Lord Finesse, Q-Tip. All of these cats were like under my wing when I had my studio up in the Bronx, and just little tidbits here. Rick Rubin, okay, these all students of mine that actually that I started in this business, and and not even knowing that I'm like, I just did it because that's just my nature, and just working with people. No, listen, if you want to do certain things certain ways, you should do it like this. Then you have to have a knowledge. So, basically just trying to work with people because I feel if I can get the best out of them, then, we can both get the best out of the production that we're going to, that we're doing at that point in time. So, more or less somebody at the end of the day, if they take something home with them that helps them out, which I know because I got a lot of cats that come back to me, yo, dude, if it wasn't for you, man, blah, blah, blah. And, that's like, that's a good feeling overall to like, have somebody come back and say, thanks. for putting me up on the scam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a really amazing philosophy, because I think that something that this is generally lost in hip hop is the passing on of tradition. And so you have a whole generation of newer cats that are basically oblivious or unaware of the history of where a lot of this comes from.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, you know what I'm saying, somebody that I helped start go out there and make a success of themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people started. Fat Joe started in my studio, Big Punisher. I remember, I'll never forget the first day I met Lord Finesse. Lord Finesse came in the studios. You gotta put me on, man. I'm dope, man. I'm telling you, man, I'm dope, man. You gotta put me on. Like, all right, shorty, chill. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to have to sneak him in. He was like 13 years old. He couldn't come to the parties. I used to have to come downstairs and sneak him and my other boy Carlito into the party. He's like, yo, man, Jay, I never forget, man. You used to sneak me up in Danceteria, man, and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, now you running Danceteria, you running all these other clubs and everything like that. So, you know, basically, I don't want to get too long-winded out here, man. You know what I'm saying? I tell you, y'all got to pull the plug on me sometimes.
No, we're good.
We're good? All right, cuz, you know, I start running my mouth and you'll be like, well, he shut the hell up.
Nah, we're good. We're taking this in.
Okay.
The name of the session is called Know the Ledge. It means know the legend, but also know the ledge as in knowledge. So people are just taking it in.
Oh, man. I said, well, in that case, I'm going to tell you, I was born in a little shack. And
From a Gullah family.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's, you know, that's stuff right there. And, you know, like even with Pooba, when he started doing his productions and Q-Tip and all those cats, like I can call on LL at any point in time. I can call on Queen Latifah, you know what I'm saying? You know, God bless his dead, my man, Professor X from the X Clan, he just passed away last year. And you know, these are all people that I help influence and went on to do great things. And you know, that's a part of me doing that also. You know what I'm saying? Even every now and then when I see Jay-Z up on a stage, I'm like, yo, that's a part of me that's up on that stage with him, because, you know, if it wasn't for me plugging into some lampposts and getting shocked up a couple of times back in the early 70s, he might not be on that stage right now.
Absolutely. Got to give props to that. Absolutely. One thing that I really admire and was really shocked about, but I shouldn't be, just given your history in terms of when a lot of DJs dropped out, probably of the first generation, or did whatever, you saw possibilities in terms of studio work, in terms of production. When you got disappointed, you started up your own label. Whatever happened, you were always, I guess, open and visionary enough to see possibilities in the different realms, you know, that's there. And so when I look at something like this, you know, and Scratch Live Serato, it was almost like, I know cats who started DJing a few years ago and they're like vinyl purists, you know, they're like, don't give me no computer. And here's Jazzy Jay plugging in a Mac with a, you know, a mixer that you designed that's like purely
limited
Serato.
edition, JJ57 SL Scratch Lives, limited edition. But you know what it is see, I remember, because I was on the cutting edge, you know, I started first with Final Scratch. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Final Scratch, the Serato version. And, you know, actually, the people from Serato had did it first, but they was a plug-in for Pro Tools, so you couldn't actually take it out on the road with you. Okay. So that's when I guess Stanton kind of like grabbed the idea and the concept, and they ran with it, and they were actually running all the way to the bank. But what happened is they did what Serato didn't do. They was running to the bank, and they wasn't listening to the people that was using the product. So people were like, you know, I was like being one of the first to actually start doing it. I was calling and let them know, listen, you know, these little glitches here, there, and, you know, I think they need to be addressed. But, you know, then when Serato came out and just said, yo, listen, we're going to listen to you guys. What do you need fixed on this? And they fixed all the glitches, and next thing, the ease of use, the setup of it and everything like that was just so, you know, so comfortable, you know, just ran with it. And with me, I'm a carpenter by trade, so I got to have a good hammer, a good, you know, good screwdriver, good drill, and Same thing. I apply those same ethics to my tools that I use when I'm playing for the people. I'm gonna have to have a good mixer, something that's reliable. I can't get there, and it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why my name is on this mixer is because the sucker works. I would not stamp my name or tell anybody else. I don't endorse any products that I wouldn't use myself, or just because somebody's paying me some money to endorse a product. Nah, I wouldn't use it. You know what I'm saying? Or you didn't pay me money. I'll tell you what I think about it, but I'm not gonna go on record and tell somebody, yo, yeah, you need to go buy this. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying, that's like false representation. We don't do that. Zulu Nation, we got the credo. We don't do that type of crap.
So what makes this mixer different from the others? Because this is a Jazzy Jay limited edition.
Basically, it's the same as the 57 series. Only thing, we got it done up graffiti style. My man Eric Orr took a little time and did a little graffiti. Y'all may see it. It's upside down from there, but you can see it's you can come out, take a look at it later on, whatever the deal is. And it allows me to control. I don't even have to touch the laptop so much that I can scroll through my records. I was wishing we could have got that up on the screen. I can scroll through my records with the twist of this knob, select records easily. I can scroll through my crates right here with the twist of this knob, and it's virtually, you got your cue points right here where you can, just kind of do everything from the mixer instead of, staring into the screen of a laptop, you know what I'm saying? Because back in the days, we had no laptop to stare, and we'd look at the vinyl and the mixer. This was our focal point right over here. So, I try to stay on the top of edge of technology, but by any means necessary, do not believe that I'm just totally straight up made the conversion, because, dude, I got close to 500,000 records in my collection, and I'm still buying records. I went to the record store yesterday. They just didn't have nothing I wanted at that store. But I still buy records. I will still play vinyl. What's good about it, what this allows me to do is I'm able to travel a little bit lighter, and I think after all of the years of me carrying heavy-ass crates of records, I deserve the right to use some modern technology. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. When Red Alert was here at the last, one of the last academies, someone asked him about what it is about hip hop that makes it so difficult for, I guess, this generation of heads to acknowledge the pioneers. Like Rolling Stones could get on the road right now, and you could have like 3 generations of people being at that concert and enjoying them as much as the grandparents or parents did. But it's very difficult right now for some of the earlier pioneers to go out on the road, so to speak, and get the same kind of props. Do you think it's something about hip hop essentially, or is it something about the music industry? Or
yeah, you know what it is? We living in a fast food generation. People want everything fast, and then, it's quick, it's microwave, it's nuked, it's in there, it's out of here, in and out, you know what I'm saying? So what happens is, when hip-hop was in its purest form, when people like Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz and the Cold Crush, when they used to grab microphones, you know what I'm saying, they set trends, and it wasn't an overnight thing. So, these are cats that work for years to develop their craft and to develop to being a superior. Then you couldn't get on a stage with a Melly Mel back in the days unless you had your shit together. You know what I'm saying? Right now we're going through a stage where we it's every week there's new artists out, there's new this, new that, and like I said, a lot of people don't take the time to okay, let me invest in my craft, let me perfect it. Every cat that buys a MPC automatically deems himself as a producer. You know what I'm saying? Every cat that buys a turntable automatically, I'm a DJ. And what happens is, you get kind of like the people that kind of pioneered this thing and worked at that craft, they get kind of phased out. Like me, I lose a lot of shows to DJ $1.50 down the block. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening is they're not gonna pay me what I'm supposed to get paid if they can go pay this guy or not pay him. Some cats are doing it, which is it's a paying dues process also. But you know what I'm saying, longevity, the business itself doesn't take care of the hip hop pioneers. You know what I'm saying? They like, okay, you guys are over the hill. You were then. This is now. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when you look at like rock and roll and a lot of other country music, a lot of other formats, yo, dude, you know, you got these sponsors that have come out of the woodwork to put on a Rolling Stones tour or something like that, or you know, they'll go out of their way to do that. Oh, this is my favorite group, so you know what? I'm gonna allocate some funds, do that. You know, besides like Red Bull and a couple of other companies, I don't see a lot of people doing that in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And that's what needs to happen because, like I said, hip hop. And you know, not just hip hop, funk, soul, R&B. We're selling everything. You know what I'm saying? So some of these companies, some of these major companies that's making a lot of money off of advertising to the hip hop populace and making money off of our culture, they need to come back and say, listen, let's try to preserve this culture instead of you know, stealing from it all the time. And I think that's would be the difference for them, for a lot of people saying, because I know if you ain't seen the Cold Crush brothers in years, they might be, you know, I remember they used to one of them, they used to toss him up in the air. Now he weighs about 300 some odd pounds. They ain't no more tossing. But these brothers get up on the stage and they work hard for the money. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of cats that they don't sell 1 million copies, and you go watch them in concert, and it's you know, I don't want to call no names, but it's just boring. But you know, you get some of the cats that, you know, they believe in what they doing. When they grab that mic device, when they hit them turntables, you know what I'm saying? They put effort into it. You know, they don't just give you a subpar performance. They give you everything they got because that's what they want. When I'm playing, dude, I take it personal. You know what I'm saying? I'm high karate the party, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I do that, man. I do that, man.
Are there any artists at the moment that you feel that you like, whose music you like at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was saying in an interview yesterday, there's only two forms of music as far as I'm concerned. You know, all the categories, you can call it what you want. It's only two forms of music. It's good music and it's bad music. So in every genre, you got hip hop, rock and roll, funk. So yeah, you got good and bad in each one of those areas. But you know what I'm saying? I could play bad hip hop all night, or I could just play good country music. You know what I'm saying? Duh, I want to play the good country music. You know, don't force me to play some bad shit that I don't want to play. So but like a lot of the cats, I think they have potential to change what they have to say. I know I like a lot of 50 Cent. I like a lot of Nas. I like, of course, Dr. Dre, I think, is a phenomenal producer. You know what I'm saying? I like a lot of the cats from the past. You know what I'm saying? I love, like, Teddy Riley, Kumo D, you know, Flash, Melly Mel, Bam. You know, I like a lot of the stuff because I'm very open to music. But as far as like the direction, I think what's happening is like the business once again have put so many ties on what topics that they should talk about. It's just like the whole thing. What happened to the days of Slick Rick and the storytelling? You know what I'm saying? What happened to me just talking a fun song about what the hell I did? I got up in the morning and I brushed my teeth, I combed my hair, and then I beat the streets. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about something other than, you know what I'm saying, bitch better have my money or this nigga that, you know, you know, and that's the only thing. It's just like we have all of that. That's cool, fine, and dandy, but we have no balance. And I think the balance and the positivity is something that's going to be coming full cycle now, because a lot of artists are starting to say, you know what? I want to do this. I think it's time for something to be heard. You know, let's just stop just like degrading each other and stop it. You know what I'm really tired of? This is really toast my buns. Every damn drug dealer turns rapper. It's like, yo, dude, what the hell? I ain't never sold no drugs. I'm like, okay, cool, fine, and dandy. But if you're gonna turn to a rapper, why you gotta still talk about selling drugs? First of all, you're incriminating yourself. You know what I'm saying? What kind of idiot gets on the microphone You know what I'm saying? And you know, and just blows their whole spot off. I tell, oh yeah,
Snitching on themselves.
you know what I'm saying? Half of them, you know, and then it influenced others to like, oh yeah, well let me talk about it because I see that. And some of these cats ain't never sold nothing in their life, but they get on vinyl. They the biggest, yo. They done got John Gotti money. They got Island because they done sold so many rocks in their socks. And I'm like, dude, you know, we ain't all about that. Not everybody. Let's you know, can we talk about the hard-working cat that gets up every morning and drives a bus 8-10 hours a day to come home and feed his family? I think I can stand to hear a little bit of something about that, because to me, he's just as big a deal as the cat on the corner ain't never had a job, but yet he's driving a $200,000 car, and then on his spare time he goes to the studio because he done bled the community dry, and everybody's hooked on the crap that he's selling, the poison, so he can afford to go in the studio and lay down some tracks and call himself a rapper just because, and then the industry sucks it up and they allow this crap to happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I want to see some balance. Not saying we need to eliminate that, because that's part of our surroundings. We have to see that every day, walking in and out of our homes or whatever the deal is. But I want to see some balance happening in this thing real soon. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, if anybody listening, I'm working with a lot of cats that we want to produce some positive music. We want to put some out, kind of, you know, change a little trend. Let's go back to today. Let's have a little fun with it. You know, let's tell some stories with it. Let's do some different things, man. You know what I'm saying?
In terms of doing different things outside what they regard as the negative things, and I mean, this is like a really generalized questions. What do you see the possibilities of hip hop might be as a social / cultural / political force in terms of resisting different kinds of oppressions?
Okay, well, I think we hold the key, baby. You know, you got the Democratic Party, you got the Republican Party. What about the hip hop party? Dude, we are strong in numbers. Around the world, we can change things. You know what I'm saying? You know, of course, the devil's busy, and it's always gonna. If you find anything positive, and you find anybody speaking out, what happens is they always go after the thinkers first. You start speaking out, next thing you know, you're assassinated. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the deal is. But I say like this, man. You know, we have enough power to actually, you know, politically change a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And coming from the streets and doing all of that, and then evolving to what has been like one of the most lucrative industries. You know what I'm saying? I think just that in itself lets you know that, hey, it's an entity, a force that has to be reckoned with. So I think like this, if everybody that under the sound of, if you love hip hop, you love this, that, and you want change, I say we can come together and we can make that change happen. Let's elect our own politicians, elect our own world leaders, man. I think all of these countries fighting over the, and especially the United States, they on the top of my shit list. You know what I'm saying? Because their policies, man, and the government, and I don't give a damn what they know. I can't stand the ruling policy, and I love Americans. You know what I'm saying? I love my people. I just can't stand the way my people are getting persecuted. And I think if we all unite together, have something to say about this, you know what I'm saying? We don't always have to, because the first thing let's start a war. That's gonna change things. No, a war ain't gonna do nothing but kill some people. We know what's wrong. Let's address the issues and let's change it. Stop letting these politicians run our lives and lining their pockets with our blood. You know what I'm saying? Sending these young boys off to go to fight, because you for what? For some oil that don't belong to you. You know what I'm saying? You got people in Africa starving, and they got all the precious minerals right there. You know what I'm saying? But yet you got two families that live in a castle in Britain, and they run all of Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Something's very wrong with that. You know, and when you got somebody that's got so much money that they can die 5 times and keep coming back and not be able to spend it all, and you got somebody that's living their whole life hand to foot and don't even know where the next meal is gonna come from, and would jump through hoops of fire just to be able to be recognized, just to have a little something. There's something really wrong with that. And I think if we can address that issue and come together and stop being afraid of these damn governments, man, we need to get rid of all of them. They need to stone them like back in the old days, man. Just put them all in a pit and just stone them all, you know what I'm saying?
It's a plan. It's a plan. I mean, with the wisdom you're spitting right now and having had this history and you've got children yourself, are any of them involved in hip-hop?
All of them. All of them. My daughter, she likes classical music, but then, you know, she started digging some funk. Then she comes up to me like, oh, you got to listen to this. Yeah, baby, that's nice. That's nice. Your daddy only been playing that music for like 25, 30 years, but it's good. I'm glad you like it. But yeah, my son, I started my son playing the drums since he was 4 years old. You know, me and my wife come from a musical background because she plays the flute, she plays the piano, she's a accomplished pianist. And my other daughter, that's the one I don't know what I'm gonna do with. She loves dancing though. She's a hell of a dancer, but you know she's a teenager too. I ain't getting no gray hairs yet, but they're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming. Yeah, so you know I got them all involved. My son is like, you know, he likes a lot of the new hip hop, but he knows the deal. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's pulling the wool over his eyes because you know he's got a good teacher. So I keep them involved in the mix and the loop.
Brilliant. Before we open up for the floor, questions and so on, what's next in store for you in terms of things that you are going to do and things that you'd like to do?
Right now, I'm just like, you know, just going to keep on doing a little bit of traveling for a few more years. I intend on starting like a chain of stores to, you know, to sell equipment for DJs, for producers, whatever the deal is like that. So I'm in negotiations to start doing that right now. Basically, until they throw the dirt on me, I'm just gonna keep on making music, man. You know what I'm saying? So as long as I can be in the studio, and I want to be able to be comfortable to actually do this. So as long as I can get, you know, my family affairs and everything like that taken care of, my bills, which never stops, man. I don't know what the hell they just never stop, man. Bills, man.
Stop buying records and turntables.
Those, you know, you pay for it one time, you're good. And plus, you know, like, you know, I'm a very smooth character, man. I go up to these companies and like, yo, dude, gotta have that. Only one company, Apple and DigiDesign, those two companies. If y'all listening, Apple, hook a brother up. God damn, how many computers I done bought, man? Y'all can at least throw me one. You know, but you know, I'm good about that, man. I get stuff in a lot of the companies like Newmark, Rain, Stanton. You know, they've been very supportive, and you know, I thank them because you know they don't have to show the love. You know, like a lot of companies don't. But you know, Techniques, I ain't even gonna get started with them. We've been playing on Techniques for years. Where's the love, Techniques? You know, so a lot of this stuff, you know. That's what I want to do. So I want to be able to open up a store, but I want to sell like, you know, the good. I don't want to just sell a lot of stuff just because I'm getting it at a discount rate. I want to sell what DJs need, what producers need, what they want. So, you know, I'm always up on the cutting edge of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting ready to start the work on a book that I'm getting ready to put out. Also, they want to do, I know nothing about directing any movies or whatever the deal is like that, but I've been approached on that level also. So, you know, I got a few little options and, you know, things I want to toy around with before I hang up the mixing gloves and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, Jazzy Jay ain't going nowhere for a little bit.
Perfect. We're happy for that. Thank you very much, good sir. Let's open up the floor for discussion and, well, questions essentially.
Cool. I just want to say I learned a lot. You know, I'm a fan of like documentaries and reading books. And I always told myself that I wanted to meet, you know, pioneer or something. So it's an honor just being in front of you, man, hearing you talk. So I just want to thank you for that.
You're welcome, my brother.
I thank you. Now I got a couple of questions. Just being growing up being a fan of hip hop, I've always heard in songs about the Zulu Nation. You know, but me not being from New York, I really don't know what the Zulu Nation is. Like, what if it's an organization? What exactly does Zulu Nation do?
All right, the credo Zulu Nation's peace, unity, love, and having fun. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of sums up what we're all about. Zulu Nation came out of the necessity of us, like I said earlier, stopping the violence on each other. Each one teach one. It opened up the possibility, like it's not not totally religious-based group, but in the lessons that the Zulu Nation hands out, you can, you know, it teaches you about the Muslim faith, it teaches you about the Christian faith, it teaches you about different things, and it teaches you about respect for oneself. So these are all the lessons that the Zulu Nation, you know, puts together. The chapters went from like the very first chapter in Bronx River, which was like the first original 7 members, to like hundreds of thousands of members worldwide. And it's not a gang like some people thought. Oh well, Zulu Nation. I mean, of course we, you know, anybody will kick your ass if you mess with them or whatever the deal is. Our credo when we used to do the parties is like, you know, you come in peace or you leave in pieces. So we didn't advocate violence, but you know what I'm saying, if you want to come and bring it, you know what I'm saying, we'd be there, because we not only have the teaching aspect, we wanted people to excel in life. So that's what the Zulu Nation was all about. We gave you the lessons, gave you the tools, and like, you know, right now we got people that are doctors, that are lawyers, that are, you know what I'm saying, in the music business, as record company executives. We got people that own television stations in Paris, you know, and it's an organization that you know has grown, and like I said, from plugging into the lamppost, and because of its positive attributes, it always gets met with the negative, because we were listed down with the Crips, the Bloods, the Nietes, and the Zulu Nation, like as if we were a gang. But it's not a gang-oriented thing. It's like more of a family-based operation that we get together and celebrate, and you know what I'm saying, just try to advance our status in life is called.
So what's the process of joining the Zulu Nation?
They have a chapter out here in Canada. What you have to do is you'd have to contact the chapter leaders. You can go right onto the website at zulunation.com or zulunation.net, and it'll outline the whole directions on what you need to do. If you wanted to start a chapter yourself, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the deal is, how many members that you would have to petition to start a chapter. What are the rules and the regulations, you know what I'm saying? Because the one thing we don't want is just a lot of people joining up and for the wrong reasons and filth in the name of Zulu Nation. So, you know, you'd have to be informed on what the Zulu Nation is all about and everything like that. And if you go on the website, it'll tell you most of that.
All right, one last question.
No problemo.
All right, man, I think like your crew, just that whole, I don't know, that whole crew that was around that area, like Modern Minds, man. So is there any sound of music or any type of experiments that you're doing? Just what you saying that how you used to go to the lumber yard and construct anything. Man, do you have anything new popping?
You know what? See, the one thing I wanted to share, maybe we got off the subject, the art of sampling is a truly unique art, and I think it should be, you know, for the reasons that it is. I just like give one tip that I use when I'm sampling. A lot of times what people will do is take a loop from a song, like maybe 1 bar, 2 bar, and just loop it. What I usually do is I make it a practice to take that loop, even if I like the loop just the way it is, I would take it and break it up maybe into like 16 equal or 32 equal parts, and take that and spread it across the keyboard, each individual note, and then that way I can take that sample and kind of redirect it and make it a composition of my own. Like I went to get clearance for a song that I had used with one of my groups, with the Ultimate Force, and they couldn't figure out what song I used, so I had to go and dissect the sample and put it back together so that they would know, what I took it from. But I'd say just being creative and having an open mind, just like in anything you do, and experiment. I mean, especially with all the tools we got at our availability these days, experiment. Just go out on a limb.
Cool, thanks.
Anyone else?
Hi. I really enjoyed the story about the battle between the Kool Herc and you guys back in the day. So, is there any book or something where I could read more of those stories? Or
Yeah, they have a book called Yes, Yes, Y'all. They got a couple of different things, Wax Poetics, and a couple of other things. Oh man, I could probably tell you, but you know what? Is a website. It's called Tools of War. Yeah, Tools of War. What you can do is you can go there and Tools of War lists all kind of information that it'll tell you what type of books if you want to find out more about, and then especially if you like I told you, the old flyers and stuff like that. Tools of War is very informative about the whole culture of hip hop. It'll tell you who's playing, where they're playing. So, even if you live out here in Canada, you can go to Tools of War, even though they're located in New York. They might tell you more about what's happening here on the party scene or who's going to be in your area than you might even know about right here. So I would say use that. And the book, Yes, Yes, Y'all, we're in that. Wild Style just released their book. Pretty much there's a few of them out there. I know it's a guy named, what's that guy, David Chen or?
Jeff Chang.
Jeff Chang,
Yeah.
Jeff Chang put a book out.
Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
But yeah, you can find out a lot of that. Go to toolsofwar, AOL.com.
Thanks.
All right.
Anyone else? We need the mic.
I just wanted to say, how old were you when you were kind of like coming through, when you were DJing with Bam and playing at the recreation centers in the South Bronx and stuff? I didn't really get a sense of how old you were when you were doing that.
I was 13 years old, and it was crazy because like when I played in the T Connection, like I'm like vertically challenged. I'm not sure you can tell, So I ain't never been that tall. But we used to have to put crates up there so I can DJ from on top of the crates. Me and Theodore was like the two youngest. I think Theodore started when he was around 12. So we were like that next string. It was like Flash, Herc, and Bambaataa. Then the next generation was like myself, Charlie Chase, Grand Wizard Theodore, DXT, Rock and Rob, Breakout and Baron. We were like the next string. And 13 back in 1974 was when I officially made my transition from playing the drums and then started I bought me a set of turntables and that was it.
And did you all finish school, or did you just drop out as a result?
Nah, I didn't drop out. My mom, let me tell you, I grew up in the gang days, and I used to come home and have to walk past people rumbling and shivering each other the whole full nine. But there wasn't a better man in the whole town than my pops. Couldn't join a gang and drop out of school, dude, man. Yeah, I wouldn't be here today. He'd have killed me. My mom's always made sure that we first thing first, finish your schooling. After you finish that, you can make up your mind whether you want to go to college or do whatever you want to do. But basically, you're gonna finish some schooling. You're gonna do that 12 years. After that, you're a little bit on the grown side. You can do what you want. Fortunately, they leaned on me enough. I went to school and then did 4 years of college, and basically, the man you see here before me right now. Next in November, next month, on the 18th, I'll be celebrating my 46th birthday if I make it.
Woo!
So, lot of years in this thing called hip hop, and you know what? If I had to do it all over, I'd probably do it all over the same way, man.
Yep. While we're waiting for more hands, one thing that I forgot to ask, because you were in Beat Street as well, how accurate of a depiction were some of these movies that some of us grew up with, you know, in other parts of the world and totally just ate up? How reflective was it of that time and the vibe?
Well, Beach Street got watered down. Don't believe what you're saying. Beach Street now.
Breaking my heart.
Yeah, yeah, but the whole thing is B Street was they wanted to get a certain type of rating and meet a certain type of audience, and sometimes when you go after that, you lose something in the story because there's a lot of parts where because Bambaataa was like one of the consultants when they was putting the whole thing together, where the parts with the gangs and how it originally started before when the graffiti they kind of depicted the graffiti and the essence of what you had to go through and the hardships you had to deal with being a graffiti right at that time, but it wasn't like the full accurate thing, but it had its moments where it did justice. The best parts was like, of course, like the dancing. The dancing, when if we went back to be depicted from back in the days, it would show like maybe not as much colorful movement as that, because come on, at that point in time, you was dancing outside, dude. You wasn't doing no windmills on the concrete floor, you know what I'm saying? So, but other than that, I mean, Beach Street, we owe a lot. We owe a lot to Beach Street for telling the story, but maybe one of these days somebody's gonna make the real accurate 100% story. Hey, maybe that'll be the movie I'm working on.
No doubt. Okay, we have time for a few more questions.
Who invented the scratch? Was it Flash or Theodore? Because I had heard Flash saying once at the concert that if someone tells you different, smack him in the face.
Let me tell you, I love Flash, I love Theodore. They need to stop the violence, stop the nonsense. Theodore invented the scratch. Don't let nobody. I love Flash to death. Flash invented just about everything else. I'm like, dude, come on, man. You are the turntable god. It wasn't for you, we wouldn't do what we do. So stop the nonsense. Theodore did that. The first time I heard somebody go, it was Grand Wizard Theodore, all right? And I'm talking about, I was on a fence, perched up like maybe about 10 feet in the air, like this. Because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, all right? Now, I had already saw Flash. Every time I seen Flash, I was like. So, but this was something totally new, all right? And I talked to Theodore. Theodore's such a sweet. Yeah. Anybody ever met Theodore? If Theodore's never been. You gotta have the Grand Wizard up in here, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a character, and him. And he's like, I don't know why Flash. He's real soft spoken, sweetheart of a guy. Flash, on the other hand, love him to death. But everybody knows Flash can be a little bit arrogant. He can be a little bit whatever the deal is. But, it doesn't change it. He's a very talented individual, and Theodore's a very talented individual as far as, like, the backspinning technique and all the cuts and the quick movements and all of that. You'd have to get, hands down, you'd have to give it to Flash. As far as I'm concerned, the scratch was invented by Grand Wizard Theodore.
Okay, cool. Okay, before we get to you, seeing that we're speaking about the technical elements of DJing, what are your thoughts on the kind of new generation of DJs that have taken the technical aspects to other levels in terms of beat juggling and crabs and astros? And
I'm loving it, man. They done turned the turntable into a whole musical instrument, you know what I'm saying? So, I applaud people like Qbert, Mixmaster Mike, the Executioners, all of those cats, man, they take it to another level, you know what I'm saying? And, I mean, that type of thing has to go recognized because, dude, do you know how long it takes to put together some of them routines? I'm talking about a little 7-minute routine might take you 3 months to put it together nice and flawlessly. Those guys need to give them a round of applause, man, because, dude, that's a lot of work. Yeah. That's a lot of work. I see sit there, man, it hurts my hands sometimes when I see Qbert and he's like, like, dude, I'm not even looking at you no more, man. It's like, you know, it's crazy, man. But you know, I'm loving it. I don't think I think they should always stick to the main rule that, you know, look at your part. If you're gonna DJ a part, if you're just doing an exhibition, cool, fine and dandy. Take them to the moon. But if you're playing for some people and they want to be out there dancing, yo, incorporate. Like my man Cash Money. Anybody ever seen Cash Money, DJ? Yeah, that's a bad man, right? You incorporate your skills, but you know what? Keep the dance floor popping. Cash Money, Jazzy Jeff, you know, DJ Craze. Those are the cats that I think do it the best, man. You know.
Ben, you good? You sure? Sorry, I cut you off. Anyone else? Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to ask something about women in hip hop because it's a very male-dominated kind of genre. What women MCs are out there actually saying something? Because you don't hear about them. You know, you turn on MTV and it's someone talking about how much money they make and women running around in bikinis and whatever. And I can think of Invincible and Bahamadia, and after that, it's kind of a blank. I mean,
yeah, well, you know, you got Latifah.
Yeah.
We got one of the females that I had produced on my label, Strong City, Ice Cream Tea. You know, there's a few of them, but you know what it is that, yeah, like this industry, you know what I'm saying? They dictate, and what they want is they want to see you all undressed, shaking your ass, you know what I'm saying? Like as if, you know, you couldn't say the same rhyme with your clothes on. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the deal is. And as far as like, good thing you brought that up. Like I encourage like a lot of female DJs. Like, you know, I help them out any way I can, because I think that, you know, just because it's a male dominated situation, I know a few female DJs. My girl Jazzy Joyce, my other girl June, a couple of female DJs, Faust and Shorty. You know, they'll kick any male guy's ass. They'll kick his ass when they get on the turntable. So I always encourage that because of the fact that, you know, you don't have to just be, you can set your own type of trend or whatever the deal is. Now, if you want to, you know, you want to DJ with a G string, anything like that, I ain't got nothing against that either, man. I love Sid, you know what I'm saying? But it should be your own choice. You shouldn't have to be pushed into that in order to be into this business. You know what I'm saying? You know. That's what I say. If any of the female wants to jump out there and do that thing, go ahead, do it.
Were there any female DJs back in the days in the 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, you had the Mercedes ladies, Debbie D. You had La Spank. It was a few of them. It was a few of them. Not as many as I probably would have liked to see. It was Debbie D. Boy, she was fine. Boy, I always wanted.
On the turntables.
She was on the turntables and off the turntables.
Okay.
Wherever she went, she was back.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, going once, going twice, thrice.
Sold to the man in the polka dot underwear.
See you guys tonight. Thank you very much.
I want to thank y'all for having me. One love. It's the Funk Master Jazzy Jay.